Any questions? Yes, Mr. Murray.
I have a couple of questions. Is Barbara Hall the chair of the tribunal or of the commission?
Of the commission.
Will she continue to be?
I have no information that she's stepping down.
Have they appointed tribunal members?
Yes, they have.
And they all knew, or did they come from the commission? Or are they incestuously intertwined?
There are some, from the information I have, there are some members that remain as part of the tribunal.
Do we have any indication of the budget implications of this for us? Because it sounds like it's not going to become less of a budget issue.
I don't think we can even hazard a guess. It'll be mostly legal fees, Mr. Murray, and I can't even contemplate how much it would be. Sorry.
Thank you. Linda, you mentioned that there was the applicant has their costs covered.
Well, that new legal... yes, yeah, they will.
The respondent doesn't.
No.
So if an applicant brings an action to the Human Rights Commission, or directly to the tribunal,
right,
and it's found to be not of substance, the respondent still has to pay their own costs?
Yes. Yes.
I was reading recently of a case, I think it was in Hamilton, where a gentleman ran a restaurant and somebody brought an action against him because he wouldn't let him smoke marijuana outside the family restaurant. And it virtually bankrupted the restaurant.
Is that
so
right?
there's no recourse to the respondent if the action is not, the applicant's allegation is not.
The tribunal can't award costs, so in a normal situation civilly you can get some costs back, but it depends on the issue on a going forward basis, and if it's individuals, the impact on them. But from an institutional perspective, no, you're bearing your own cost of responding in effect.
I'm thinking of it more in the corporate world, not in the institutional world. That it kind of automatically says that the respondent has a financial burden, whether right or wrong. And the appeal process is to the divisional court?
Yes, by judicial review, which is narrower than the statutory appeal that you had before under the code. We always had the ability to judicially review the tribunal if we felt they were going beyond their jurisdiction apart from the appeal process. But now it's really, greater deference is given to the tribunal under this new regime.
Sounds pretty one-sided to me. The deck is stacked before you even get there.
Oh my!
That, you know what? That's where the corporate world has to get in line with the institutions, because that's where your due diligence is key on this.
That's right.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
Sure.
Actually, through the chair to Ms. Bordeleau, in relation.
Is that allowed, really?
In relation to Mr. Murray's question, there's no recourse. He made reference to what I'll refer to as a malicious complaint to the tribunal. Would there not still be some recourse for the institution or the corporate body through the civil courts to initiate a lawsuit for a malicious complaint?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's where there is a distinction between an institution and a corporation and an individual in terms of the impact of some of these processes. And does malicious prosecution include, is it just civil? Is it criminal? It also includes this kind of quasi. Because really, the human rights process is seen as a quasi-criminal process to a certain extent because of their broad authority. So yes, that's a good point. I won't give any advice on that today, though.
my example of the gentleman that I recently read about in the paper was, sure there was recourse for him to go after the applicant, but in fact, he was on disability and can't get blood from the stomach.
You know what? That's the problem.
Bankrupt the small business.
Absolutely, and that's where it's. Do you have a deep pocket? Very rare, and the cost of civil litigation is prohibitive.
That's right.
Linda, what, the makeup then of the tribunal, is there like a chair and how many members?
Yes, I don't know the name of the chair, and I thought there was,
I'm not.
yeah, and I can't,
I wasn't as much concerned about the name of the chair, just wondering how many members sit on the tribunal? Do they sit as 3, as 5, as 7?
I don't have that, I'm sorry, I don't have that information in terms of whether they conduct panels.
Is that, if you add the two financial numbers together for the first year, they had 31.7 million. It's a lot of administration.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes. Chief?
can I ask a question to you?
Sure.
To my general counsel?
Yes.
It's based, my question's on the time limitation.
Yes.
I mean, historically, with the 6 months being identified, the commission could basically cherry pick. If it was 8 months and they decided to go with the complaint, they could. Now that it's in the code, the 1 year limitation, are they bound by that, like we are similar to the Police Services Act?
Well, you know, I would like to say yes, they are, but then it becomes an issue of when does the person become aware, you know, of the violation, and that's the problem. That's where the limitation periods are always such a live beast, right? So I don't think we can gain a lot of comfort from that.
I just want to ask, is this retro, in other words, our files that are current, are they going to be administrated under this new?
The transition provisions, the ones that are currently in the stream will continue that way, and then there's a 6-month time frame where those will go into the new stream. So I think that's been reviewed on Mr. Bowman's end.
So would that implicate any additional costs to us?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Thank you.
The last question I have then, are we going to monitor this in some way that say in a year's time we'll be able to review what happened and look from our own perspective what our next steps should be? I mean, there's no sense of complaining now. The act has changed, and maybe 1 year won't be long enough, but I think we need to monitor the way that the tribunal is going to deal with this and the compensation sides.
Absolutely, and we do have a Human Rights Committee in place within the service with Deputy Chief McDonald chairing that, and I'm part of that, and I think that's an important role for that committee to monitor how these are being dealt with, as well as on a going forward basis, how can we better address it, and what are the issues we have to deal with.
Any other questions, Linda? If not, thank you very much for this thorough presentation. And look forward to see what happens. All those in favor, receipt. Carried. That concludes our